Hello, this week was very interesting learning about Dr. Ruiz's philosophy that there are 3 language orientations that affect policy and planning, and that even though he came up with this back in the 90s, that it's still extremely relevant, if not more relevant to today and all of the different societies that have multilingual programs and multilingual citizens within their nation, which is basically every country. So anyway, the first is the language as a problem is the first orientation he discusses, and the definition of this is basically it perpetuates monolingualism, that it's valued only with using the majority or dominant language of that society. Its policy is to seek and eliminate or severely limit minority languages spoken in that community or country, and it denies access to utilizing multilingual growth. Language learning is looked at as a subtractive process, meaning you started at a higher level of intelligence and you actually, as a society and as a person, decrease that intelligence collectively when you add languages. They also, another key characteristic of this is education programs are facilitated to promote just monolingual education. There is no bilingual, biliteracy programs. And the social divisiveness is there, and there's very little inclusion for diversity. Okay, language as a right. That is another orientation proposed by Dr. Ruiz, and that's where language mediates access to society, including employment, healthcare, voting, education, media, and jurisprudence. And then there's also language it relates to personal freedom, allows each individual to speak and express themselves the way they would wish to. Speaking and maintaining one's minority language and native language, as well as the majority language, as a human right. Rights both focus on access to develop and maintain proficiency in both, not just the newly acquired language, but in both languages. It also is a big proponent of access to civil rights, that no one may be denied anything due to linguistic ability. Then we have the third orientation, which is language as a resource. That one is societal and multilingualism and cultural diversity in which are valued. It also has national unity, which includes linguistic diversity. Countries such as these are Switzerland and Belgium, do a really good example of what language as a resource looks like. Then they have languages that have, it sees languages having an intrinsic value, such as cultural reproduction, building self-awareness, self-esteem, intellectual engagement. But it also has extrinsic value as well, such as national security, diplomacy, military action, espionage, business, media, and public relations, all when they see language as a resource. Okay, so what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses of language as a problem? Language as a problem is a standardization of language. It seems to focus on solving societal problems, so it's problem focused and instead of solution oriented, and its only solution is to eliminate all difference. So that is somewhat of a strength and a lot of a weakness. Then language as a right, it is not focusing on the problem, so that's a strength. It is not deficit thinking. It is allowing civil rights to be advanced, and it does give freedoms. However, the weaknesses are that it's extremely helpful in the jurisdiction area and the law creation of legal world of human rights, but doesn't seem to cover areas legality as much in education. It can sometimes be as polarized as the one aforementioned, language as a problem. So it can also polarize. finally, we have the last one, language as a resource. Both strengths and weaknesses are that it generally is seen as the best one of the three, and it's not problem focused.